Welcome to the best of the Chris Vernon Show, presented by Direct Auto Insurance from the American Home Shield Studio inside FedEx Forum. To watch the live show daily at noon or on demand, head over to grindcitymedia.com or Grind City Media on YouTube. Now, let's take a look back at some of the best moments of the week.
Before you came in here, we were talking about how I said one of the stories that's come out recently is player bonuses are a huge thing in the NBA. And what seems to be the case is what they're going to do is prorate based upon what had been accomplished so far. So if I had like a 3-point bonus in my contract and I had hit 100 through 65 games, what they would say is, okay, then you were on track to hit 126 through 82 games. So you're going to get that's what you were that's the rate that you were playing at. Therefore, that's what's going to count towards your bonus. It's going to be prorated as to whether you hit your bonus or not. And it was interesting because we were talking earlier, Tyus Jones evidently had one for like $800-something thousand if they got 33 wins. We're sitting on 32 right now. When the season got canceled, we had 32 wins. He's one win away from $800,000 in his bonus, which I had never heard of a win bonus, but that's what I wanted to ask you first. I'm sure you've heard of all kinds of these, but what bonuses did you have in your contracts over the years?
You mean incentives?
Yeah.
I ain't never had no incentive.
None?
What you pay for is what you get.
No, really? No steals? No defensive teams?
What you pay for, what you get. I wasn't one of them type of players, Chris Vernon. I was, man, if you gonna sign me, sign me. Other than that, if I don't, I'm gonna be sitting right here with you.
You didn't even have games appeared in? Bonus?
No, I didn't have none of that. It was just flat out play for this, and you gonna get that, and then you get out of here.
That's it. You never... I thought everybody had some kind of... I guess not Tony Allen. True original, right?
I definitely thought you would have had some for making, whether it's first, second team,
Oh, well,
defense.
yeah. I mean, in your shoe contracts, you got that. You got that as well. Your shoe contract.
Okay, so you were with Adidas for most of your time here,
for sure. Like, you get a bag if you get first team. You get a bag if you get second team. You get a big bag if you get defensive player of the year. I didn't get one, unfortunately, in my contract yet, which I was close to getting it, but, you know.
What are we talking about?
You said incentives.
No, I'm saying big bag. Over $1 million?
For sure.
Oh, really? If you get Defensive Player of the Year, at least in your case, you stood to make over $1 million.
It was over.
Oh, I would have beat Marc Gasol's ass.
I ain't tripping. It hurt my contract too. I ended up. All that was. It's past, man. I'm past all that.
No, but you end up so if you are, then I wonder, because I had heard somebody told me this 2 years ago. They were like, you see how Harden's going out and shooting $1 million, like scoring $1 million points every night.
And a guy like that, you will have to look back and be like, yo, he must got some incentives in his contract.
No,
you could just say that.
Somebody told me that he was gunning for that MVP, because he could have won it the year before too. That was he
could have won a couple of MVPs.
It was
already.
the Westbrook. It was the Westbrook triple-double year. Is the year that so he lost it that year, but then he won it the next year. But they said that he ended up that it was like he was going to make a fortune if he won MVP from Adidas. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what that, but I mean it was
Adidas
tens
pay.
of millions of dollars.
Adidas pay. I ain't gonna front. They pay.
They do.
Yeah, you win one of them awards, all they paying you. They sending you your check right ASAP, Sean.
Oh, wow. All right, so you can make a ton of money, I guess, on this. But had you ever heard of anybody else's incentives?
As
Do
far
guys
as
talk
the one
about
you
it?
just said it,
Bonuses?
the one you just said with Tyus,
yep.
I never heard of that. But I could see why they probably put that in there. Simply, he's a backup point guard. He helps control the narrative on the game. You come in, either you're going to extend the lead or you're going to keep it the same.
Yeah.
He's pretty much in control of that, being the second floor general when Josh sits down. So I could see why they did that. And he's proven to carry ball clubs when the starter point guard is out. I done seen them run with Cat and Wiggins.
Yep.
And they go on win streaks. You know what I mean? So I can understand why they did that with him, and he's a solid basketball player with a high IQ.
Because that's a lot, $800,000.
That's a whole
It
lot.
is. That's a lot. I mean, for a win.
It's a whole lot.
I mean, think about how much you would care about winning.
I like that.
I do too.
You gonna say what I'm finna say? Go on, say it. Say
No.
it. What you was finna say?
No, I love the win one because that is the most unselfish.
Like an unselfish, team-wide,
Yeah.
team-oriented, and it's like you don't put so much of the game on yourself. You know what I mean?
That's
It's like
right.
you moving it around, make it more a cohesive.
Well, the
group.
other thing is a guy is going to look if he's got a 3-point, incentive or he's got a
he
whatever.
gonna jack more.
Of course. Why wouldn't you?
It's almost, the funniest one I remember.
Oh, how
The
about
Harkless. Remember the Harkless
he
one?
wouldn't shoot threes?
That was funny.
Yeah.
We were just
Oh,
talking
man.
about it.
Y'all wrote that
He
one
would-
up?
Yeah,
Okay.
he
Yeah.
wouldn't shoot threes.
It was like 36% was what he had to shoot on the year, and he got to like 36.2 in the last 2 to 3 weeks of the
man.
season. He would not shoot.
Oh, man. But I didn't blame him, but, I mean, that was kind of odd.
But it is interesting with somebody like Ty, right? Like if you want your player sitting there and like he's pissed that you guys lost, like that's his money. You know what I mean? Like you guys lost that game, and if you wanna, that almost incentivizes that feeling that the only thing that matters is whether you guys won or lost. It doesn't matter if you guys, if you had 10 assists in the game or whatever it may be. Because if you had like an assist clause or something like that, then you're worried about like, man, I gotta get these assists.
It don't help
right?
you play the game the right way, I believe. Like, I like when guys like you probably got to take so many attempts in the first quarter.
Yeah, the ones I like are I
know
like
what I
the
mean?
win one and I like the games played one, right? Because they were just saying Rudy Gay had a 60. He had to play. He got X amount of money if he played 60 games this year.
Right.
Right. And so I guess I don't know what his number was when the season ended, but everybody had just played like 65. Speaking of them, by the way, how about it gets reported last night LaMarcus Aldridge had surgery in April. Nobody even knew. Nobody even knew until right now that the guys had that he had surgery.
On what?
Shoulder. He's done. He can't. He's not playing anymore. The rest of the year. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, geez. I wonder if you're just waiting until they figured everything out with the whole playoff thing and everything else, because you may look at it and be like, geez, man. I mean, we're already worried about the amount of teams that we're going to invite. They're probably a long shot to get into a play-in or get into a playoff situation anyway, but they're clearly in a much greater disadvantage if they don't have LaMarcus Aldridge. But this guy got surgery, I think they said April 20-something. It's June 9th. Nobody even knew. That's how off the radar everybody's been
How long
since this thing.
How long did the surgery take?
Well, he's out for the rest of this year. He can't come back.
What's the recovery of it?
What do you think, 6 months?
Probably.
Something like that? I mean, you'd imagine. So, I think the hope would be that you're going to get back for next year. I don't know how much you've seen about what they agreed upon last week. 22 teams, 8 regular season games, and then a play-in, and then the playoffs. Do you think 8 games is a good run-up to the playoffs? And you got... From now, you know what's going on. You're not playing, if I told you now, you're not playing until July 31st. That'll be your first game. That's when the regular season will start. July 31st, you come, train here, and then there's going to be a training camp, and then you're going to go to Orlando, and we're going to have a training camp and a couple weeks of practice, and then we'll start playing at the end of July. We'll play 8 games before the playoffs. Do you think 8?
So 8 games before the playoff determines do we get in the tournament or?
Well, it's going to determine the playoff seeds. So okay.
So can you drop out of the tournament?
Okay, so here's the way it's going to work. Grizzlies are at 8 right now. They have a 3.5 game lead. Okay, if after the 8 games somebody is within 4 games of them, okay, so they don't extend their lead at all, and somebody's within 4 games of them, let's say the 9 seed. Okay, they would then play the 9 seed. So let's just say, for the sake of what the NBA wants, the Pelicans, right? Grizzlies will play the Pelicans. They play them one night. If the Pelicans win, they play them another night. the Grizzlies win, it's over. If the Pelicans win, they move on. Whoever's 9 would have to beat you twice, and then they would become the 8 seed.
So the best.
If it's within 4 games.
So really, what you're just saying is, the first one to 2 wins.
No, it's single elimination if you're the Grizzlies. You just got to beat them once. They have to beat you twice. Right. So.
No, I'm saying if you the opponent,
you don't have to get to. Yeah.
So if you're the opponent, you got to beat them twice.
Yep, and not lose.
And not lose.
If you lose one time,
it's over with.
It's over, right? I think that's fair, don't you?
But that's only in any event that they push it all the way to.
Correct.
If they stay there all the way down there where they at,
that's right.
We good.
Half game. We got to extend it a half game. I mean, we'll probably have to play in a play-in, but to me, you then do account for having a 4, whatever it is.
Man, I just hope the Grizzlies roster been working out, bro. At least doing core work, plyometrics, sit-ups, push-ups. Stuff you could do just on your own, man. Because, when they try to cram stuff like this, I remember the lockout year I played. There was a lot of injuries. You know what I mean?
We were just talking about this.
Like, come on, man.
Hey,
like,
D Rose got hurt.
D Rose got hurt. Like it's a lot, bro. So I just hope people are aware that this is part of the game when you do this. So I'm looking forward to the season to get back started, but I hope my troops back there. I saw somebody in the gym that looked like Ja. Charlie saw Ja. So they in there working. So
what do you think you'd
be ready?
What do you think you'd have been doing?
What I'd have been doing? I'd have been in the gym.
No, you couldn't.
I'd have been in there. My finger worked.
It was closed.
So what? I'd have got in there.
No, they wouldn't let you. They'd get in huge trouble.
They wouldn't have saw me. Trust me, they wouldn't have saw me.
I'm talking about.
I'd have been in the gym, Chris.
Through these last couple of months.
I'd have been in the gym.
The NBA has made them close down the facilities, so that's not an option.
I do wonder if that's true, though. Like, they make them close it down. But
come on, bro.
There has not been anybody over there
you
that
don't
we know of.
You don't know.
They don't.
You don't know.
They don't park on our level.
You don't know.
They do not park on our level.
He wanted it to be now, but
yeah, they do
if
not.
Somebody was in there.
They do not park on our
about.
level. They have their own parking
You
area.
think you would have
It's
just
access.
been? You think you would have just been working out?
I'd have been in that joint. Push-ups. I'd have been in there, bro. I'm telling you.
The whole time.
The whole time.
I don't know.
One person could just be in the gym. I could just be in there by myself.
They're just not letting that happen, or they haven't. Maybe you say.
Yeah, I'm capping, but who knows?
I mean, it's not. It doesn't get to be your choice.
I would have
right?
pulled it. Is what I'm saying. I would have pulled it.
Yeah.
Then after a while, I know all the gym tutorials and people who work the things in the back.
You'd have found some way to be able to play basketball.
That's all I'm saying, Chris.
Right. Well, I mean, guys are gonna. I mean, I do wonder. It's gonna be very interesting to see. Do you think that's enough time to get in shape? For guys that you've seen that have come back out of shape, you could tell they didn't do anything all summer.
That's gonna be embarrassing. I'm telling you, that's embarrassing. If you ain't stayed fit and shape during this time, knowing that it's a possibility that the season might start back, you come back, bro, that's embarrassing.
Have you ever seen anybody that was way out of shape?
Yeah.
Who do you remember?
Myself. That lockout year, that was rough. It was rough.
The lockout year, you recall when you came back, you were just not in basketball shape. Why? Because you just weren't planning on.
No, because I was working out, but it's just
you couldn't use the facilities.
You couldn't get a steady run, like a up and down.
Where were you going? Do you remember?
Right there on what is that? Houston Levy. It's a little the fitness, Lifetime Fitness on Houston Levy. I go work out there.
You were going to Lifetime Fitness?
Yeah, and then
Stories?
I
They're like, we see Tony Allen in the gym all the time during lockout.
yeah, just working out. And then I go to it's a church down the street. I go there, get a run over there, and then go to fitness, get another run at nighttime, late night, playing one-on-one with anybody.
You were playing basketball with just dudes?
Anybody. Whoever want to play. Like, all right, come on. Because I had access to the gym all night.
Wait, you were going up to Lifetime Fitness during the lockout, and just like if there were guys playing up there, you were just playing with them.
Mm-hmm. But I had my workout guy first. Shout out to Key Vinny. We'll work out. Then I just play pick.
That's not who these guys went to Lifetime to play against. You know what I mean? Like,
Who?
if you walked in, like I've seen the guys at
No, I'm not really playing them. I'm just really working on my 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bam.
You're just running
Working
around.
on my game. I ain't really working on.
Yeah, but you can't lose.
No, I'm not gonna lose.
That's what I'm saying. Like you can't.
I'm not gonna lose.
Like, all right, like your team can't show up and like be in the run, and everybody's just playing, and 5 guys lose, and then they go sit on the side and whatever. You can't be on somebody's team and then lose.
It don't matter. It don't matter if I lose. I just turn to the next 5. Like I got you.
I mean, I when I was in high school, I worked at the now it's the Germantown Athletic Club, but it was like the Germantown Community Center at that time. Jay Will would come up there from time to time and play.
It's normal.
And like
guys do that.
And he didn't do anything. Like, he just dribbled the ball up the court. If his team was losing, then it's like, all right, I'm gonna start shooting everything and I'm gonna make it. But for the most part, it was just for him to just run up and down a little bit, get cardio, and yeah.
Let's see if your memories. How many games do you think you played in the 66 game year? Let me go look at this up. Did you get hurt?
Nah.
How many games did you play in it?
How many games was
it? It's 11-12.
It was
66. I just told you.
I played 55 of them.
All right, I'll take the under. What's the number, Roser?
58.
What?
Played 58 games.
I got back in shape. That's
Started
what I'm trying to
57 of them. Averaged 10 points, 4 rebounds, 2 steals.
I averaged 10 points that year.
9.8. I'll give you 10. We round that up. We're gonna round that up. We're gonna round that up.
Yo, I'm just saying that to say, bro, that year I was so out of shape, but I got back in shape.
You got back in shape. Yeah, they said that
I think I was first team all defense that year.
11-12, that was the second year. That was right after we had played San Antonio in the year before. So who did we play in 11-12?
Yeah, it was 2012.
Because the next year was the West Finals
we lost to
year.
the Clippers. We lost to the Clippers in 7 games that year.
Yeah, Zebo.
Rudy,
That's the game Zebo regret he hit that dude.
And Rudy was back. No, that's different.
That's a different game? Man, we played them boys so many times.
No, this is the year the Clippers came back from 27.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
That was that year. Gilbert Arenas, Hamed Haddadi started the fourth quarter in Game 7 at home. Weren't in the league the next year. I mean, that's like, what are we doing here?
Gilbert had one leg, though.
Huh?
Agent Zero had one leg.
Leg.
He told me, yo, I got one leg, yo. I said, all right. I could dig that.
I loved him.
I loved him,
I
too.
thought he was so funny.
I just thought he was just, the way he act was just a little weird.
He's goofy.
Yeah, goofy, but, like, just odd. Like, weird. He's cool as hell, funny as hell, but just seemed weird.
Did I ever
like,
tell you what he did to me? Listen to this. So when the Grizzlies first moved here, I had first gotten into media. I was a nobody.
Right.
And I went and I would cover all of like the draft workouts, right? And so one of the draft workouts that was going on was Jason Richardson. Ended up playing a long career. He's great player, right?
Shout out Jay Rich.
Grizzlies had pick that year. I think the 6th pick in the draft. So Jason Richardson ended up going 5th. They traded on draft night, and they took Powell 3rd, and then they took Battier 6th that year. So the 5th pick was Richardson. He went to Golden State. But anyway, his workout was one of the workouts that I went and I covered. And I met him, interviewed him, hung out with him for a little bit. Super nice guy. Like, I hit it off with him pretty quickly. Fast forward to the season, his rookie year, he's playing for the Warriors. And I go into the visitors' locker room, and I'm like, hey, I was like, hey, Jason, good to see you. Rookie year's going good, blah, blah, blah. So I'm kind of catching up with him. And at that time, a young Gilbert Arenas, it's like a 2nd-round pick, he's on that team. And he's sitting there. And he's sitting there in the locker room, and he looks up at me, and he goes, Chris? And I was like, hey, Gilbert. He's like, Chris Vernon? And I was like, yeah. I was like, how do you know me? He's like, I'm reading your media pass. I was like, come on, man. Humiliated me in front of everybody. I'm like, how does Gilbert Arenas know who I am?
Yo,
that's him.
That's funny.
That's him. The goofiest dude, Gilbert Arenas. And he was there. And then he ended up, of course, going to Washington and becoming a megastar for about 2 years. He's so underrated in the grand scheme. Like he had a 2 or 3 year run where he was like one of the best players in the NBA.
Oh yeah,
certainly one of the best scorers.
He had a 3-year run. It was a 3-year run. He went with the Wizards. He went 25.5 a game, 29.3 a game, 28.4 a game.
29 points per game, man.
And then he had another. I mean, he had a few seasons. Then he had a couple down seasons. Looks like he got some injury. Looks like he had some injuries. Yeah, one season he played 13 games. Another season he played 2. And then he came back another season and played 32 games and averaged 23 a game almost.
So after all this time off, you think 8 regular season games and then a playoffs before you get to the playoffs is a reasonable amount of time?
Yeah, I mean, as long as these guys have been staying fit, oh my goodness. As long as these guys have been staying fit, it'll definitely, take its course. But 8 games, get a time to get your feet wet. But I don't know how deep together they were, during the off season. Were they paying attention to, what principles they keep first? Or did they lose focus of what principles they keep first? And just getting back into practicing and gelling is the key.
Well, they have never had Justice Winslow in the lineup. You think that if they have a workouts here and then a training camp, and then they have a training camp and everything.
Oh,
is a training camp enough time to get somebody involved with the team and, you know what I mean, for him to be able to fit in? Because you imagine he's going to be a big minute guy for you. Big minute.
Oh, that's going to be big. I'm thinking the way Josh was playing before he left.
Right. Have you kept up with him?
You say what?
Have you kept up with him?
With Justin or Josh?
Jackson.
Jackson. Yeah, I send him texts and, I reach out to him, let him know, he needs to stay ready and instead of trying to get ready. But for the most part, I was looking at those guys. I was just thinking about those 2 guys on
Winslow.
the wing.
And Kyle.
And then you look at Winslow, he could actually push it on the floor. I mean, I remember one game he had a triple-double against us, didn't he?
No, close. It was like 27, 7 and 7 or something like that.
Some crazy number. I remember that game, watching that game. And it's cool because
it was the first game of the season.
You can see all those guys out there on the floor with all those guys who could create for themselves or make plays for others. That's a strong team.
No, they could be way different with him.
3, 4 guys who could get the rebound, push it, and draw attention and kick it out. And here you got guys, 4 or 5 guys that could do that at one time. That's dangerous.
And you're a Winslow guy, too.
Yeah, I like Winslow.
I do, too.
I like Winslow.
He's tough, too.
Winslow.
He's tough. He'll be great to implement, but I'm saying, is that enough time?
I don't know. It all depends on Chris. What those guys been doing in this quarantine, bro.
Right.
If you've been getting you a 5-mile run in every day, you've been lifting, keeping your body, getting to a gym. If you know, you could probably get some shots up at least. It's gonna be a smooth carry.
I don't know if you saw the story yesterday. They're gonna. I was speaking of some of these guys. Inevitably, have gotten out of shape, and some of them are going to come back looking like Hercules, right? They had all this time off.
Yeah, it's one of the 2.
And they did say they are going to test for performance-enhancing drugs, when they come back. They're going to test everybody, because if there was ever a time, if you ever thought about it, and you were going to try something.
It up.
Right?
Right.
Dude, if some of these dudes come back looking like Hercules. But they did say, then they followed that up and they said, we are going to test for performance-enhancing drugs. We are not going to test for recreational drug. Every guy was like, yes! Thank you, God. I swear they said that. You didn't see that?
So you mean tell me they doing what the NFL doing?
You can just get high, you can smoke weed.
But see, all right, because I know we got a lot of people listening. Now let me tell you. You can't, I don't care what athlete you is, you can't smoke and hoop. You can't do it. You can't do it, yo.
Why does 95% of the league do it?
I mean, all right, but 95% of the league ain't walking around looking like Bron.
Yeah.
Looking like Durant.
Right.
And a lot of them ain't looking like Westbrook. You got to have an engine, man, around that court. You can't have no engine with all them fumes in your body. Man. Come on, man.
Losing the breath.
I know.
Losing the breath
well,
all
at least
time.
I know for myself, I know I couldn't do it. My whole 14
I mean, Vlade Divac smoked cigarettes his entire career.
And Vlade Divac was getting his ass dunked on by Shaq every second.
Yeah, so
Take that.
He wasn't as good as Shaq. Vlade Divac was
so
a really,
what?
really good player.
I wouldn't care what he was. He was Shaq looking at him like the Sacramento Queen.
So you would say
That's all I'm saying.
get edibles. I'm
I
kidding.
wouldn't say none of that. You just can't do that while you hooping, bro. It don't mix. I don't want the youth to think that's cool.
Right.
When
it's not.
Like it's with your lungs.
Yeah.
Like you ain't gonna be able to do it. Like you a clown. You just really I'm getting high, but you goofy though, cause LeBron James you definitely putting yourself in a poster.
Yep.
When it's time to come chest to chest with Bron, and he ain't had a puff.
Yep.
You gonna put your ass in the basket.
Let me tell you something.
That's how I look at it, man. Me personally.
I was covering the teams back then. There were guys that came into town during that lockout year that I was like, oh, come on. This is ridiculous. Some guys came back. I'm talking about came back with like 20-inch biceps. They were huge. There was a bunch of guys that got way huge during that whole time.
There's one going around today. I saw Ben Simmons.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he looks bigger, yeah.
I mean, if you were ever, but I mean, they say they're tested for all that crap. In the case that you wanted to try something a little funny, but yeah, they said that they're not for the recreational.
But who the hell want to not be alert during the game? Can you imagine going to sleep?
You're not smoking weed before the game.
I'm just saying, like Stephen A. Smith. I saw when Stephen A. Smith about 3 weeks ago, he talked about this.
Put down the weed.
Yeah, he wasn't. Stephen A. Smith wasn't really rolling with it. You know what I'm saying? I kind of felt this stance on that because, you know, a lot of guys gonna try to abuse that. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I'm just being honest. Like, certain guys ain't disciplined enough to say, you know what, I don't do this doing while I'm playing basketball.
And they would do, and the reason that they would do it is because now you have taken away the scare. You know what I'm saying? If you say you're not going to test for it, then guys, they don't worry. There's at least a percentage of guys that don't do it because they don't want to test positive. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's just because certain guys are just athletes and just respect the athlete form and being an athlete. Mm-hmm. And that don't consist of, you don't see too many great athletes who indulge in that and been champions.
Right.
So why would you do it?
Right. I'm with you. Let me ask you about what all has gone on. You and I talked in depth last week a lot about all the social issues and everything go on, and you have seen, for sure, so many guys throughout the NBA involved.
Shout out to Westbrook. I saw him yesterday lead the protest.
That's right. Westbrook.
Big shout out to Westbrook, man.
Malcolm Brogdon, Jaylen Brown, Steph
Big
Curry.
Big shout out to Jalen, Stephen, all those guys.
Clay. You've seen so many guys within the NBA, all the way to major stars, right? Like Clay and Steph, that have been out amongst the people and part of these protests. And it feels like now you have seen a much greater wherewithal for so many athletes to use their platform, whether that be in protest, whether that be on their social media accounts, whatever voice they have, their ability to make their voice heard and be seen and be part of things. As you have witnessed as a former player, right? Because it was kind of here and there that guys would speak up about social issues or whatever, but it feels like we have seen a colossal change within sports over the course of the past couple of months. All of them, in fact, right? It's not just Kaepernick's the guy that, stands up, right? And look at what happened to him. Now it is these guys appear to be doing it with absolutely no fear of any repercussions from that, because they have not only the support of their organizations, they have the supports of their leagues, and then they have supports of their sponsors and whoever else, that they may be maybe at once was a concern, right? That if I'm out there speaking about things, I mean, this is how the whole Jordan thing came up way back when, right? There's a lot of money that can be attached. But as you have watched all of these athletes across the board using their platforms, it feels like this is much, much different than ever before, doesn't it?
Yeah, the Black Lives Matter movement is way different. The police is obviously, being viewed as, some demonstrative people right now, and they taking it out on, obviously our kind, which we seeing on video. But these people who speaking up, I mean, it's expected now that it's that's blunt, this raw in footage. I mean, your endorsements, your all that. I mean, they should be behind you on this. Mm-hmm. This is part of what we need to have is change, and a lot of people who look up to these icons and these big name people, they looking for them to speak out as well, and they doing it. So hopefully we can get some justice from this moving forward.
Have you thought about what it would be like if, in your heyday, you were certainly one of the 2 or 3 most popular players on an NBA franchise? You had thousands of people wearing your face on their shirts and jerseys in the crowd and whatever else. I mean, you had a massive impact here in this particular city. Have you thought about what it would be like, you know what I mean, if this is all going on while you were a current player, that that so many of these other guys, your peers that are going through right now, as they are at the peak of their fame within their certain cities and franchises. But have you thought what it would be like to be a player right now and even put yourself in that position? I mean, I don't know. It's so hard to know how you would have reacted years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like if you were a player at the time while all of this stuff was going on, because you never really, there's certainly nothing like this that's ever happened before.
No, it's not. I mean, you just look at it like you definitely would be a part of change. If it's a march, if it's me speaking out. Last week I had used this platform to speak out, but I mean, of course you would have heard my voice. I mean, I'm looking back playing, like I would have probably tweeted something, or of course I'd have got in the movement, but right now I'm just praying for change. I'm praying for, everything, for the world to get back right itself. Just sitting back away from the game, for like 2 years and just not playing itself and just watching the game, falling in love with the game. I think it's really exciting to see our big names speak out. LeBron, he's been real vocal, and that's what we want. They speak up for us, for the guys who don't have bigger names and bigger faces and bigger platforms to speak on that. I mean, yeah, we look up to those guys to do that, but most definitely I probably would have been part of any march or any movement that they had if I was playing.
I'm interested. What have the conversations been like with your friends over the last week?
I don't know. We just been talking about just the look on the dude's face when he had his knee in his neck. Like that little smirk, that little I don't care. I don't care. Like I done seen that look on so many people's faces, and I know what that look means. And
hand in his pocket.
Just
like you
to
can't
know,
be more cavalier.
Just to know, like he had ill malice in doing that, and I just want to see change for that person. That was too graphic. That was too scary, and I always say people take advantage of their authorities, and that was one of the situations that got the world in the uproar. But it been going on. It been happening, and it's just unfortunate that it took that George Floyd situation for the world to just go in the uproar. And it's time for change, man. I mean, it's what we at in the world, man. It's kind of sucks, but that's what we at.
It's like these guys call you, when they see you. It's so, it makes me feel old too, right? They see you, and many of them greet you as OG. You know what I mean? Like you're like the elder statesmen around here. They see you like at the games. They see you in the hallway. They're like, "That's my OG,"
right. They do
or whatever. Like right, like you're the old head now, right?
Yeah.
But I do wonder, like, how inspiring this is for you now as one of those guys that is, like, that you see so many of these young guys, like somebody like John Morant, like, he totally looks up to you, right, as, like, hey, he's an OG, and he can teach you, he can put you onto some game, and he can teach you about a lot of things or whatever. And I can't help but think that as you're watching it unfold, you and so many of your peers and your buddies and guys that you played with, you know, that now you're seeing this. And do you feel like, as you're watching it all play out, that this is real this time? That, like, are you hopeful that this will be a true agent for change? That this isn't going to just pass by and people are mad for a minute, right? But that this is going to continue, and that this is actually a real turning point in America. Do you feel that it is a real turning point?
Oh, man.
You can be honest.
I don't know. I just think it's a weird situation simply because, you know, we didn't caught the police doing so many bad things so many times and just got away with it. I think the uproar, the people going crazy, the looting, the rioting, I mean, I think that's for a cause. That's for change. They doing it for change, so I understand that. Now, when this is all said and done and we get justice for this, is the racism still done? Like, is this a legislation thing? Like, with what we doing? Where do we stop that racism part? Where we putting the stop at it at? Like, do we take people out of power and mix it up a little bit and put some minorities in? Like, where do you really get the change from what we trying to get accomplished? Where do we all come to the table and say, all right, we ain't feeling this way. It's going to be hard, man. So I don't know if this is going to be the movement to change that, but I just know it still exists. It still goes on. And I don't think it's no perfect way to nip it in the bud. And I just think we just got to be, you know, better people when being disrespected or understanding the law or understanding whatever's going on, and just be more knowledgeable, I believe, moving forward.
I've thought about this so much. I do think it's the video.
What?
You know what I'm saying? That, like, when you wonder, like, why, you know, you've got a confluence of all manner of things. People have been in their house for so long with this coronavirus and so little distraction of everything. And then the graphic nature of the video that came out that has, you know, it's like you could talk about this stuff has gone on and this, but then when people see what they have seen, and it was the same with the kid in Georgia too, Aubrey. And it's like when people see that, it's a different deal. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. We should all be able to compute what is happening without having to see a video of something. But you think about this even back in the day, like remember when the Ray Rice thing came out? How many guys did we hear about domestic violence, or we heard about all kinds of things that had taken place in the past, right? But then when we saw the video and you saw it, it changed the world. It really did. It changed every sports team, and it changed every company and how they deal with domestic issues, because it put an image to this travesty. You know what I mean? This tragedy that had gone on. And I do think that's a major part of it. We live in a visual world, and people, for a lot of people, this is the first time that, and we have seen others, we've seen other videos in the past, but that this one struck everybody in the heart, you know, and it's like this, and it made everybody reflect, right? So I don't have a great answer for you either, Tony, in terms of how does everything change, but there's no question that when you see thousands and thousands of people in the streets of every state and countries all over the world, there's a whole generation of people coming up that are a lot different than even mine and yours generations, you know? They're clearly moved to make things different, right? Because you saw look at the ages of the people that are out there, you know? It's a different world, right? The activism. I don't remember anybody being an activist. Man, when I was in high school. Do you? I mean, like, it wasn't.
I mean, it's just getting out of hand, though. Now they shooting protesters with rubber bullets and all that type of stuff. Like come on, man, we got. Let's get this world back.
That it's all
to
being
a
caught
better
on video
place.
now.
Let's get it back to a better place, man.
That is for sure. Hopefully, this all creates a much better world for all of us.
Glad you're with us. Devin Walker, John Roser here, and Brevin Knight has arrived from the golf course. You look very dapper. Always want to look good on the golf course, right?
Well, listen, that's what my mama said. Wherever you go, at least look good.
Right.
You got to have one thing that you're doing right.
How'd you play?
I played really good on the back today.
All right.
It was good. I got up and down really good.
Okay.
Didn't hit the green too many times, but I was able to. I shot 84. It was a good day. It was windy out today.
Yeah, real windy today.
But beautiful. Good walk. Me and Pete Pranica.
Oh, yeah?
You know my buddy. We like to get out and take a nice stroll.
Yeah, well, you and Pete will be working again soon, which
Get
is
outta
pretty
here.
exciting. Yeah, at end of July we hear.
I'm ready. That was shucks. We haven't talked. We've been talking hypothetical basketball for a long time now.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see that there is an end to all of this non-basketball.
We were talking about it before, and I'll throw this at you: the crowd noise, pumped-in crowd noise. Why? To
Right.
me, it is what it is. Just let it be what it is.
Well, and everyone knows that it's what it is.
Right.
So to me, the biggest thing is play music. You might as well play some music.
That's what we've been
I mean,
saying.
that's what we like. That's what players like to do anyway. When you hoop in the summertime, when I was growing up, that was the summer league. Summer league, you got a DJ, you're playing outside. Now, of course, it'll be inside, but the music was playing. So, hopefully, we don't do too much with the fake crowd noise because there's no gimmick here. There's no surprise that fans won't be there.
Yeah, and I still believe, I think without it, players having to kind of generate their own intensity and competitiveness and just, to get themselves fired up for the moment, I think it could be great to see one-on-one play, trash talking, guys getting in each other's faces, guys taking it a little personally, a little pride being on the line because it's just you. I mean, you're out there on your own, and I think that could be fun for the league.
Yeah, it's going to be fun because, as you said, they're going to have to generate their own energy. And how else do you do that without talking? Right. So whether it's talk between themselves, but there will be much more trash talk, or the trash talk will just be able to be heard now.
Yeah.
Right.
See, that's the biggest thing. Like, the trash talk goes on during games still today, but there's so much other stuff going on in arenas that you won't really pick it up. So it'll be very interesting to see how everyone, down to coaches, how do they also get themselves to be able to get their teams ready to play, or when you need that little bit of change of momentum. Right. How does that happen?
Yeah, and because you always talk about it, the biggest crowd exploding plays, the three or the dunk.
Yes.
And a lot of times, you're in an opposing gym, team hits a couple of threes in a row. Well, you better call a timeout. Well,
right.
Do you use your timeouts now? Because it's not really.
Right.
It's not us
not
against
the same.
The crowd and everybody.
You don't get that same feeling of like your head goes down because now these people are like they're going, and you're like, God, dog. Now it's like, all right, he made two, You may forget that they made two or three in a row.
Right.
Just because that energy is not there. So it can work both ways, that you can bounce back from it and you don't need a timeout, or you will still need the timeout because the run still happens.
How do you put yourself in a player's shoes in this, as far as the environment and what it's going to be like? When's the last time you played a game in front of no people? High school?
No, we had people.
A lot of these guys had people in high school.
I went to a good high school. I don't know. we were a good basketball team, so there were people in the stands for it. You take it back. It's summer basketball. You take it back to when you're playing in the gym, and there's maybe 9, 10 other people standing around the side, and what you'll get is super competitiveness, because if you lose, I don't really feel like waiting to play again. So people are playing. So you have that type of feel for players is kind of like taking it back to when you were, whether it's in the park. For me, growing up, it was playing in the park. For a lot of the guys today, it was playing in gyms. And that feeling of, I don't want to get off the court.
Yeah, and with everybody having that sort of feeling, do you go into it thinking, all right, the best teams will probably prevail. The ones with the most talent will probably prevail like it normally happens in the NBA. Or do you look at it and say, it might be more wide open because everybody's kind of, all NBA players, they all get a check. They all are really good players, and you take out a lot of the amenities of your home gym and sleeping in your own bed and having your home crowd. I mean, you're throwing it all out.
Well, that's when the best of the game become even more the best to me.
Yeah.
Because what made it equal for other players was the fact that I had to do it on the road at some point. I was sleeping in a hotel, and you were sleeping at home. Where now we're all in a hotel. So the best is still the best of the best will still rise to the top. The difference in this is that you get a lot more healthy players playing at this time than you would have in a regular season. In a regular season, you would have the injuries still to deal with, and now those better players may have to do more because of injury, or the opportunities there because that team had. But now you're talking about the best of the best and the best of the best feeling their best.
Yeah.
So you almost give those type players a little bit of an edge because of the scenario.
Right. And one guy I think everybody has forgotten, because we talk about the Grizzlies getting healthy with Jaren and Brandon and Justice Winslow all being back, and we'll get to that in a second. But a guy that we all forget, Anthony Tolliver's on the longest 10-day contract in the history of the NBA. Remember, he's still on the team, man.
Yes.
and someone that can really help this team.
Right, and did.
Like, exactly, because what he gives you is, on the defensive side, he's a pick-and-roll defender, a big that can play that position. If you happen to switch, he's cunning enough, mentally good enough to be able to play with young guys. But then on the offensive end, you're talking about a three-point threat. I mean, you don't get more at that level. So it just gives.
I mean, we talked about it a little bit at the end before the league shut down of, if the Grizzlies were to maybe tweak anything in the rotation, maybe Tolliver even goes into the starting lineup. But then you're thinking, you can't put a 10-day guy in the starting lineup. I mean, that just doesn't make a lot of sense.
Right.
That might anger some people.
He will come off the bench and be a spark that you need. We can talk when you had the injury to Jaren and the injury to Brandon.
Yeah.
Then now you can sit and start to have that conversation just to mix it up. But not
right.
Now you have a Brandon Clark that's back healthy. You have Jaren that's back. We don't need to talk about that.
No.
But still can be a great asset to helping you get somewhere within these 8 games and then through a playoff series.
Well, and a guy who could be in the starting lineup, Justice Winslow.
Yes.
And how far he's come, we'll see. I mean, we wait and see. But what sort of impact do you think he could have?
Well, he brings toughness. He has a winning mentality because he's been in a winning scenario in Miami, so he knows what that culture and what it takes to win basketball games. But his versatility in terms of being able somebody on the defensive side that can defend multiple positions because of his strength, but also his mobility. And on the offensive end, gives you another playmaker, a guy that can play with the ball in his hands. So whether that be orchestrating the offense, whether that be a penetrator, a creator, he really started to come into his own at that point position in Miami the last season. So it just gives them the thing that Coach Jenkins has had this entire season was the ability to play different ways. Mm-hmm. And this is another guy you say within his arsenal that he can put out there and play. Whether you want to play small, you can play small, and he can be out there and play at the 4 maybe because he's physical enough. Or if you go bigger, and if he has to be playing at a point position or maybe around on the wing, now you got a bigger defender out on the wing. So I think his versatility and a winner's mentality will be a great advantage for this team.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see what he can bring to the table for sure. And it'll be a lot of fun to have Jaren and Brandon back as well. I mean, this healthy squad, they've gotten through some tough times with some injuries, but to have everybody healthy and hungry, I think could make it interesting. They feel, the Grizzlies have felt all season, and I think even in like this seeding play and then a potential postseason, they feel like that team of they don't know any better.
Right.
They're young and they go out and play. They have fun. They don't lack confidence at all, and they just don't know any better. They're just going out and playing and taking care of business.
That's what got them 32 and 33.
Yeah.
The joy of basketball with some very talented players, but they all play a different role. We don't have a lot of guys that all do the same thing.
Yes.
Which is good for your team. Sometimes that's when you get stuck with trying to play. You can mix and match, and guys can do different things. They fit well. I thought Tyus Jones really did a great job for this team with the last month and a half of back. He started to find the range on his jump shot. Mm-hmm. We started to see he and Ja playing together Moores that allow Ja to get out and just run. So I think the versatility would be good. And just like you said, the hunger, but how quickly they came together is going to help with this little 8-game series that they'll have to play.
Which team, fear is not the right word, which team would you fear potentially catching the Grizzlies?
Portland.
Yep, that's the one I was thinking too, because you have Dame.
And you get Nurkic and you get Collins back, and that was...
Makes a difference having a guy like Dame, too. A guy, 3-point game on the line, you know who's getting the ball.
And have a running mate like McCollum that listen, you want to leave him, hey, listen, he'll go ahead and hurt you too. So, I think getting those two big players back, the thing with Nurkic is he gives him a guy like Marc Gasol was when he was here, was in terms of, or still now in Toronto, a big that makes plays out on the floor. Mm-hmm. So he can now orchestrate their offense. You can let Lillard catch the ball with a live dribble. He doesn't have to create everything off the dribbling. And so that adds a different dimension. And then all of the guys that have been playing the minutes that those two other would be playing, they feel now you feel like if I got to go to them, it's okay. Because those two guys they'll still have rust. Right. But you have other players that have played in those positions. So I think they're the team that scares me the most. Of course, New Orleans to me is a team that's super talented, a bunch of young talented guys, and so I think that they'll in some way they may up and down. We'll see what happens.
Having a training camp is going to help them a lot.
It'll help them a lot, but I still more so would fear Portland. San Antonio took a step back with Aldridge being done, so they'll have to figure out how they play. And I never doubt Pop. Sacramento started to play very good.
Yeah.
So I think that if the Grizzlies can go out and play the same style that they were playing with the same flair, the same energy, and defensively, that was where they really started to do well. Jaren can come back and block shots the way he's blocking. Valanciunas he started to do a better job with his spacing on playing pick and rolls, when to be up a little bit more, how to protect the rim. His rebounding stays up. Then I think this team is in a really good position to keep that A spot.
Well, that Valanciunas, that's right before they stopped. I mean, he was on an absolute tear. He's averaging like 15, 16 rebounds a game. I mean, if the ball came off the rim, he was grabbing it every time.
Mm-hmm. I'm happy to see Justice because you talked about the off-ball thing. Ja off-ball is like a train. Like Justice can get a board, Kyle can get a board. You got Ja running the wing instead of him having to have the ball. Right. I think I spread up my 2K experience. I'm like LeBron. I test these things out in 2K before I see them in real life. Sure. And I put Justice at the point, and it's a wrap. Man.
Well, and that's the thing. I think when he is on the floor, it would be nice to see him to be able to still play in that point model in some way. Yeah. Because I think that was the difference in his career from when he first came in the league and he's off the ball, he's playing more like the 3.
Right.
But as soon as they gave him the basketball and said, all right, create and make things happen, he's been a different basketball player.
Yeah, Valanciunas failed to reach double-digit rebounds in only one of his last 16 games. Monster. These are the last 8 games before they stopped playing. 10, 25, that's insane. 19, 15, 16, 11, 17, 16.
How about this, Rosen? People said that they thought that he wouldn't fit in with this team. And when people said, I was like, you got to be kidding me.
He's having the best season of his career.
He's shooting threes now.
Well, and he's the best fit for what we do. Yeah. Like, so run. You guys run all you want. Right, when y'all stop running, though,
I'll be there.
I'm here.
There's too much talking. Yeah, too much talking when it slows down. Too much talking about his deficiencies and how the Raptors couldn't play him at certain times in the playoffs. And I'm like, well, yeah, they couldn't play him against LeBron James. Right. Like, I mean, it's like we're not. It's not like they couldn't play him against like Robin Lopez or somebody. It's like it's LeBron James.
He is perfect for this team.
Yes,
his temperament is great. For a big to be able to run the amount of possessions he does and sometimes not touch the ball, you got to have a good temperament.
And you got a four-man whose strength is not rebounding the ball. Oh, you can see when Valanciunas does get frustrated when you don't get the ball. You see it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yes. But he still plays through it.
Yes.
That doesn't affect the game in any way.
Well, that's why, and I asked you, who would you fear maybe catching the Grizzlies? If the Grizzlies play in an 8-9, I think I would prefer that Portland is the team there, other than Sacramento, other than New Orleans, which feel like bad matchups for the Grizzlies, right? Fox is a bad matchup for Ja, just has been in these 2 games. New Orleans has dominated 2 different ways against the Grizzlies. Portland, I think, even adding their bigs with the Grizzlies' ability to play with bigs, I'd prefer Portland over those other 2.
Well, in a
playoff
playoff scenario,
well, win one out of 2.
Because it allows you to match up more naturally with our team. You're right, because Miss Millich, what's the kid in
Melly?
New Orleans? Melly.
Yeah, Melly.
That's a bad matchup for Valanciunas, and he absolutely annihilated us when they played us here.
Never even heard of him before that.
Spraying from everywhere.
So yes, and Sacramento hurts again because of the speed of Fox playing off screen and roll. So if you want to get into a series and say what's a better matchup, but I still would take those other 2 playing in those series than having to say we're gonna stop Damian Lillard enough times for making big shots in those situations. I'd rather take the teams that haven't been there before, that don't know anything, over that dude.
Yeah. But I worry. See, the Fox thing. I think I would rather play Portland because the Fox thing against the other one is Drew Holiday. Like that dude. That dude is a menace on the defensive end. He can be a menace.
I think a lot of these games are going to come down like we talked about competitiveness. It's going to all come down to like 5, 6, 7 points.
Right.
And that's why I look back to the Dame thing. Like we saw what he did last year to Paul George. Like I don't want that. It's 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Possession's coming down. It's Dame time, and it's like, oh,
and he hits it from 45 feet.
Exactly.
It's like, what?
I mean, we have Ja. Of course, we've seen what Ja done in the fourth quarters. He's his own animal, but like Dame's, man, he has a resume.
Right. And he'll get a different respect too at that juncture of the game.
Is this good playoff experience for the Grizzlies? Would you chalk it up as it being playoff experience?
Yeah, because I promise you, the teams that if they make it to the playoffs, if it's the first seed team, and it looks like who's going to be the Los Angeles Lakers, they're going to play like it's a for real series.
Yeah.
It's not. You're not going to walk out there and be like, well, this is not really playoff basketball, but no.
And they are way better equipped now to play a team like the Lakers. Not that they'll beat the Lakers, but they're way more equipped when you added Gorgie and you add Justice Winslow. It's not just the fact that, they're pretty good basketballs. It's the size.
Yes.
Like, those are both big guys that you need when you did need some more size up front.
Right. And Gorgie Jang is another guy that'll be a nice, as you get to, if you think the matchup with the Lakers, now you need multiple guys for Anthony Davis.
And Dwight Howard.
LeBron
James.
Exactly. So with that side, well, you were right. Valanciunas, Dwight Howard can match. But I'm just saying, once you start to get into Anthony Davis, you're gonna need to let him see different things.
Yes.
So those guys, Tolliver gives you somebody different. So I'm very excited to see first how Taylor Jenkins works it all, because you get a lot of pieces sometimes. It's like, dang, what the heck do we do with trying to get? Oh, we got to try. Because somebody's gonna be left out.
Yep. That's just Josh Jackson.
Right, yeah. Exactly. It's just the nature of something.
Yeah.
And then how does that all work? But I promise, it's a nice problem to have.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Basketball starting July 31st, 51 days away from the NBA returning. Still don't know schedule. Still don't know where we're going to be as far as broadcasting the game, but we don't really care. As long
we
as
just want to be calling the game.
As long as we're calling the game, we're fine. Roser pointed out earlier, my sideline reports might have to be a little more creative.
Since you're not going to be in the huddle.
We got to somehow get a little spy, your own spy cam.
Well, guys, I think what Taylor would be saying in this situation is, I don't know.
They call you Fish, Disney World. We could do a Little Mermaid under the sea kind of bit there.
Yeah, one fish, two fish.
Yeah,
fish, blue fish.
Yeah. We got some things we can work with here.
We can work it out.
Finding fish, like Finding Nemo.
Yeah. Right. The key is going to be with playing games at the end of July and August. Behind our desk, will we be wearing pants?
We will not. And when we win a big game and stand up and because something happened, you will see exactly what is going on.
That is one of my favorite SEC Media Days moments. One of the most underrated ones. They got the big college game day set up, and the guys are sitting up doing their morning hit on Sports Center, and Joey Galloway's one of them. And Joey Galloway gets off the set when he's done and walks off. And yeah, dude, he's just wearing a pair of Nike shorts and sneakers. He gets up and walks off. He's got the suit, he's got the coat, got the
everything's
tie.
looking
Gets
good.
up and it's just basketball shorts and Nikes.
Yeah, we might be doing that. I feel like I should still wear nice shoes. So I might be in like Nike shorts and like my, blue Gators.
With the dress socks.
Yeah, with the dress socks.
That's a sick fit.
Absolutely. It's gonna be good. Basketball starting 51 days from now. Wanted to also have you in to talk about what's happening in our country as well. And I've heard you on a couple of other shows, and I've talked to you a little bit as well. And I know we've talked a lot in the past about some social injustice when we're having our trips on the bus. It's not all fun and games on the back of that bus.
No,
sometimes we get a little serious.
We get serious.
And we've talked about the injustices and people not understanding. And my hope right now is I think people like myself who will sit here and say, I'm not racist. I'm sick of what we're seeing in our society, and I can speak up about that. But I think what I'm starting to understand is that I can't understand fully. So now it's more about listening, more about conversation, more about trying to understand more fully. Because you and I have talked, and it feels like we've gotten to a point where it's like things are really bad, then things kind of calm down. And then so things are okay. But they're not ever okay.
Right.
They haven't been okay. And I think that's what I'm starting to learn. When I heard Tony Allen with Chris last week, I guess it was, Devin talked to you. My daughter had you on her little show. It's learning that it's a daily injustice as opposed to just when we see things happen on TV.
Well, that's why I always say and I think I've said this to you before, I will never expect a white person to understand what it's like to be a black person in America. Because you can't fathom it. You never wake up with those thoughts. The only thing I always ask is that there's a level of empathy and what you do understand is there is a difference. There's an inherent difference when someone looks at me and when someone looks at you. Without knowing anything about our background, there's judgment. And the one thing that I say is that has to change is that judgment has to change. Because until that mindset changes in some way, until you can start to just look at that other person and, when everybody says that, I don't see color, I'm like, you're lying. How do you not see that he's a different color from you? It's fine to recognize that that's a different color. But it's the thing that we have to get to is, but he's still a human being. And until you have done something to harm me, then I still think of you as just being that person. And until we can get to that point, then we can keep changing whatever policies we want to change. We can do that. But if the same people that then step into those jobs, into those power roles, have that same mindset, then that policy means nothing. They'll continue to figure out ways that don't allow the person that looks like me to have a chance to move somewhere. And so what we have seen now is you're seeing people that have a community and a people that have asked for so long, can things be better? This is what is happening to us on a daily basis. And because that has not been answered, then now you hit the explosion that we have. It's like you just continue to shake this, and you have a water bottle, a soda bottle, and you shake it. And then when you open it, it's like, now here it fizzles out because you have agitated it that much.
Right.
And that's what has happened in this country. And the thing that I go back to is it's cool to see people taking a knee and all. But there's a guy 4 years ago that took a knee and tried to let this country know that these things are going on right now, and if we don't address it, it's going to be worse down the road. So here we are today with worse down the road.
Yeah.
We thought Ferguson was going to be bad. That's your area where you grew up. We thought that destruction and whatever happened there. We thought 92, those riots were going to be bad with Rodney King. This is going to another level because now it's worldwide. Like it's worldwide to the point where now people around that are having these same issues in their parts of the world are like, know what? We can stand up and say we're tired of it also because we see someone else doing it. So I hope that in some way the mindset changes, that I can recognize that those group of people have a entirely different life than I have, and I can empathize with what's going on, and I'm willing to listen and take it from there. It's not all of a sudden everybody becomes your friend. No, it's not that. But just understand that there's a difference.
I hope it's a blessing in disguise going through this pandemic, not having sports when we do right now, because it's given us a lot more time to talk, to watch, to listen. And, I was saying before, a person in my shoes, I would be like, well, I'm not part of the problem. But I think what needs to happen for people who look like me is you might not think you're part of the problem, but you need to stand up and be part of a solution.
Right.
Because if you don't do that, then you're not making change. Me being a good person doesn't just make change. Me being a good person that wants to help in a solution can.
When I think that helping in a solution is just your circle that you're with. Change some people that in your circle whose mindsets may not be the same as yours. And that to me that's helping change. You don't have to all of a sudden join a group that they fight for these causes or you don't have to do that. You in your immediate circle, if you can get those people to start to change. Some other people I know, if I can get your mindset to change, now we can trickle down. Now kids' mindset, because we always watch these kids when they're younger play with everybody. Mm-hmm. Then if for whatever reason gets to some point where all of a sudden it's like, oh, no, I can't. You're different.
Yeah.
But you just was playing with him all these years.
Yeah. Or my friends think you're different.
Exactly. Now this group now has grown on this side. They're like, well, you can't play with him because so we have to. That mindset has to change, and then we can keep moving forward.
I was thinking, Will Muschamp's done a lot with his football program during these times, and I was thinking as a football coach, to look at everyone and just say, who here thinks they're treated different because of the color of their skin, and I would hope the answer that I would get everybody would raise their hand, because I think what the answer you would get was most of the black players would probably raise their hand and the white players wouldn't. But the white players need to realize they are treated different because of the color of their skin.
Right.
Because they're treated like they're white.
Yes.
and that is different. And so that would kind of be what I would think, that I would want an answer to be. I want people to stand up and say, I am treated different. I might be treated better, and I'm treated with white privilege, but that is different, and that's not right. And I hope people are doing that. And I hope it is a tipping point because there is more conversation, because we are hearing more people. And like I said, my conversations with you and conversations with other friends that I have and listening to Tony, it's an everyday problem. It's not just when there's a problem, it's a problem. It's an everyday problem that we need to realize and we need to understand.
Something that you don't live with. And so the thing is, all you can say is, like I said, just recognize that it is and go from there.
What do you do? What is the action? What do we do going forward?
Well, for me, is to continue to talk to those in my circle. Financially, I do give to certain organizations. I talk to Elliot Perry all the time about wanting to be more involved with their mentoring program. And now that I'm with my wife and son now living here, that means I don't have to try to leave from town as much as I did before to go home, so I could be around more. But it's just be visible, lend your time when you can, teach your kids the way that they should think about people. And I always tell
them, it really has to start there.
Yeah, and I say, so you should still be proud to be white. Like it's like
right.
It doesn't mean you recognizing that my life is different because of how this country has been for so long.
Right.
Doesn't mean that you shouldn't like yourself.
Right.
Like you understand? Understand that maybe I have some flaws. I need to see things differently. But it's not. We're not trying to. All of a sudden be like, well, no, y'all shouldn't feel bad about church. No, but just recognize that it's a different fight for me every day than it is for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And go from there. But if you have more people that have the understanding mindset, then things can be better. And when you give people an opportunity to be better, then they can do better. You're not giving people an opportunity at this point, so you can't expect them to be better.
Yeah, and you talk about talking among your circle of friends and making people better. I think we need that all circles of life. And you talk about police. I mean, there are so many good police that are out there, and the police need to be first and foremost of, you see something, you got to say something. And you got to step in.
I will never sit up here and act like we're going to do without the police.
Right.
Shucks, I bet you tomorrow people could have gone, whatever they went through, what just happened. If somebody broke into your house the next day, you still was dialing 911.
Sure.
You feel me? Like that. So that's a reality. The problem is, again, those that become police officers have to be ready for a taxing job. It's not easy to be a police officer in any shape or form. And if you can't handle the stresses of that job, it's not a job for you.
Yeah.
But in that job, you have to understand that you have to be able to see people with some level of humanity. Unless they are doing something that is, if there's something violent done towards you, you have to do what you have to do. But right now, the lack of seeing human beings with a different skin color is what is missing in police forces to this day. And so when that can be better, when I can just get out of this car and say, okay, there's another human that did something wrong, well, I'm going to write you this ticket. If I have to arrest, then we'll have to do that. But not just seeing them as less than or inferior, so I'm going to do whatever I want to you.
Yeah.
That has to change.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's do a couple of fun basketball things
Let's do it.
before we get out of here. Favorite coach you ever played for? And I know you've listed them off for me before. Do you think you could list them off again?
As my favorite coaches?
No, your NBA coaches that you had in your career.
Oh, my NBA. Yeah, I had Fratello. Then I had, in Atlanta, college coach at Illinois,
Lon
Kruger. Lon Kruger. Then I went to Phoenix, and I came here. So then here I had Hubie. Well, first I had Sidney Lowe, Hubie. Where'd I go? Phoenix was Frank Johnson. Washington was no idea. That's a doggone shame.
Bernie Bickerstaff?
No.
He's coming.
He's later. Milwaukee was Terry Porter. And then I had Bernie in Charlotte. And then I went to the Clippers, done leaving. And then I had Jerry Sloan, God rest his soul.
Yeah.
Great man.
All right, who's your favorite coach that you played for?
You know, I love Bernie.
Yeah.
I mean, thought Fratello was a great coach for me to have as a rookie, to really bust my behind every day and really stay on me with what I need to do to be a good pro. But Bernie was a godsend for me, and that the way that I thought about my career at that point, where I was mentally, it was more like a father figure / coach for me at that point. And so as NBA coaches go, he was probably that was my favorite.
Which did you ever have that I can't believe I'm playing against this guy moment?
Yeah, my first game when we played my first year when we played against the Bulls. It was like my fourth game of my career. I think it was early on. And I told you all, I tell you, they can't run out that tunnel. Yep. It looked like slow motion. Literally, like they just sweats was flying. Yeah, you know what I mean? The music going. I say, Sean Kemp had to slap us in the back of the head. Like, come on, we got a game to play. Like that was a big, and be real. I was like, I'm playing with Sean Kemp. Right. Like, when I went to Cleveland, I was like, yo, Sean Kemp.
Right.
His locker right next to mine. Rain Man.
Who was the hardest guy you had to guard?
Iverson.
Yeah.
Does he talk trash? Or you just get buckets?
Nah, he didn't. We didn't have a lot of running talks, cause a lot of like, stop doing that, cause I'm gonna foul you, grab you. We had a lot
especially
of
a guy like him.
Yeah,
we got no other choice.
We had a lot of get the F off me. We had a whole bunch of those, but I mean, somebody that had the ultimate green light, didn't care if he missed 10 in a row.
Right.
He was gonna take 11, and he wasn't like a lot of moves guy. You had to be ready for the crossover. And was he gonna cross it, or was he gonna just keep going? That was your challenge every night.
Where were you on the trash talk meter?
I was big. I'm 5'10".
Yes, I feel it. Thank you, B. Hey.
What? I need an advantage, Fish. I was going to be out there like, come on. Hey, good to see you.
Good job, man.
Man. Rosa, I'm on their behind. From the beginning, I'm talking whatever it takes. Whatever it takes.
Whose skin did you get under?
I try to get under everybody.
Yeah.
Gary Payton taught me that, though, because the first game I played against Gary Payton, he talked to me like I had said something about his mama.
He's an all-time great trash talker, Gary Payton.
Listen, to the point where after the game, I had to ask Kemp, like, why was he talking so bad to me? I mean, I ain't never met this man. I loved him because he was Oregon State, Pac-10 for me at that time. We get in the game, and this man is MF and me. God, dog, what'd I do?
Like every possession, or we talking
I'm talking about the whole game. This was from the beginning. Like nothing even happened. He right to it. And Kemp said because he respects your game and he did not want you to feel at home. I was like, shh.
No, I didn't.
I did.
This has been the best of the Chris Vernon Show, presented by Direct Auto Insurance. Tune in to the live show daily at noon or on demand by heading over to grindcitymedia.com or Grind City Media on YouTube.